Well, just for recording's sake, I'm Lan Wilson, first year student at Drew Theological Seminary. And would you tell us who you are?
I'm Marc Kline. I'm Rabbi at Temple of Sholem in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania now.
Awesome. And how long have you been there?
I've been here for 2 months. Before that, I was in New Jersey for 8 years. And before that, Lexington for 11 years and South Carolina for 8 years. Before that, seminary, and before that, practicing law. And I don't know that you need me to go back any further than that.
And where are you from originally?
I grew up in Las Vegas, went to college in New Orleans, law school in New Orleans. No, law school in Arkansas, sorry. Law school in Little Rock, Arkansas. And then Cincinnati for years for seminary, and then South Carolina, and then Lexington, and then New Jersey, and then here.
Wow. So you have a law degree as well.
I do. Practiced for 6 years, and when I left the practice, I've never looked back.
So how did you know you were called to be a rabbi?
You're not old enough to know what whitewater was, but it was a scandal involving the law firm that Hillary Clinton worked for. And it was ugly. It made the practice of law in Little Rock just beyond ugly. And she was in that law firm because she was the first lady of the state. Bill was governor, and she was the only honest lawyer that I got to work. She's tough as nails, but you could take what she said to the bank. But her law partners were, and as the indictment started coming down, I can tell you the next one, it was just that. At the same time, I started getting more involved at the synagogue, not because I'm a religious person, but it was a way of, in fact, it was my wife, my late wife, who got me involved because she went through conversion without telling me. The rabbi told me. And his son and I had been working on a law case together. So that's how I got to know them. And so I got involved, and then the more I was doing, the more I wanted to do, because I really felt I was making a difference, not so much religiously as I was teaching and helping. And then, well, things happened. And I decided that what I was doing at the synagogue meant a whole lot more to me than what I was doing in the law office. Closed my law office, and I've never looked back. That was 1990.
Okay. So if you could describe your leadership style, how would you describe
it? Leaders empower people. Managers operate with tasks. So managers take, this has to be done, and you're going to do it this way. Leaders empower people to figure out how to create teams and networks to get things done. So we identify issues that impact us, not me. And I support people taking leadership roles. So I don't need to micromanage my religious school. I have an educator who I hired because, she's competent as an educator. And then I provide support to that, as opposed to you will teach this and you will teach that. And I know that in lots of houses of worship, the pastor or the rabbi or the priest are people will default to them the power to make decisions and then get upset with the decisions they make, because it was never supposed to be like that. The church is not the pastor. The church is the people, right? And the pastor, rabbi or priest, synagogue, etc., we are the coordinator for what they see is in their best interest in their relationship with each other and with God. And we can help, and our job is to give people tools, and our job is to help guide people, to give people things to chew on. But ultimately, we serve. And so it's not my synagogue. I'm its rabbi. And a lot of our colleagues forget that. My church, it's my pulpit. And, they were there before you got there, and they're going to be there after you leave.
Tell us then, what are your values as a leader? And what do you feel Yeah, I'll ask that, and then I'll ask you another version of the same question.
My values as a leader. I value people. I value faith, and I value people professing and living their own faith while respecting each other's.
Mm.
Tradition is very important, but to quote one of my teachers, the past has a vote, but not a veto. So I don't want to throw out what was, but sometimes we have to evolve what was into what should be and what should be. So there are times that rituals continue to make sense, and there's times that rituals need to be adapted or changed to make sense.
Mm.
So I'm really, one of the greatest values I hold dearly is we've got to understand that human experience it roots in faith. And we can't be fully human if we don't appreciate each other's faith.
What would you say to young, and when I say young, I mean young in ministry, budding religious leaders?
Bring me in as a scholar in residence, which I would love to do, and I've done a lot. But no, seriously, it is you have the opportunity to reshape the world of faith. And recognizing, especially in your situation, that you're coming from cultures all over the world, you have firsthand understandings that people see God and tradition through different lenses. And while you're all in a Christian context, because you see how different even that Christianity looks to each other, by extension, you can see people who are outside of Christianity and how their faith is the same faith, even if it's a different religion, different language, using a different word for God. But you have the opportunity to reshape the way in which the world finds God. And it can't happen exclusively within a Christian context, and certainly exclusively within an American Christian context, or a white or Black American Christian context. It happens within a much broader understanding that if God is the creator of everything, and we believe God doesn't make mistakes, then people of different traditions aren't wrong and aren't aberrations. They're a different creation of that same loving God. And without the baggage of years and years and years of teaching tradition where everybody that goes to school comes from the same area or the same community or the same background, you have that blessing of a different example of what brought you all together.
Can I ask you to do one last thing before we end, and then I want to make sure I'm staying true to the time for the assignment. Would you just say a brief word of prayer for young leaders, young religious leaders that are coming up in ministry, like you have gone down the path, or going down the path that you've already been down and that you're speaking to now?
God, in the many traditions that seek you, the many languages that speak to you, and from the places in the world that find you in different light, give us the responsibility and the love to understand that we share the human experience, and that in ministry, our job is to help people find you, not in our point of view, but in a point of view that moves them closer to faith. And in that, we can truly make the words, Bayom Hahu Ye'erana Echad U'Shemo Echad. In Hebrew, it means, or in English, that Hebrew means, on that day, God will be one, and God's name will be one, and we'll be able to live together in peace. Amen.
Well, thank you, my friend. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk. Text me so we can catch up. I can get you those numbers again.
Well, actually, I just found them actually in my
You did?
phone. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Um,
Okay.
and so that's also a blessing. But let's stay in touch, please. I'd love to continue on your journey with you.
Definitely.
We can't have shared Lexington and New Jersey and Harrisburg and not take that as a sign that you and I got work to do.
Definitely.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's hold each other accountable to that. I'll definitely be keeping in touch, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Best to you, and I'll look forward to it. Thanks, my friend.
Blessings, Mark. Thank you.
Bye-bye.